we've got to talk, before we really get into this discussion about diamonds and jewelry, I'd like us to take a moment and think about the world around us. You know, God has created this coronavirus situation, and it's like this pressure. I scuba dive, and sometimes when you go deep, you feel all the pressure on you. And so we are now being squeezed into our own spaces, sometimes psychologically, sometimes physically. And first of all, we have to be thankful to God that we're alive. These things can get out of control. I'm speaking today from Jerusalem, Israel. I can say to you tomorrow, all of Israel gets shut down, even more than the first time. And we have Yom Kippur, which is the most important Jewish fast day, holiday. It really brings you closer to God. And you think about spiritual things. You think about just being happy that you're alive. I'd like to share a minute of silence in memory of those that have passed away. And I'm going to stand up and do this. And I encourage other people to stand up. But I'll do it a minute on the clock pretty much. And you can say a silent prayer for those that are ill, and for those that are needy, and for those that the coronavirus has impacted in a negative way. So I'm going to do that. And I will show you an interesting screen while we're standing. Okay. I don't know if my screen is correctly done because I can't see my image. Joshua, I assume that I'm okay.
Take it a little bit down, you'll be fine.
Like so.
There you go.
Okay. Now look, everybody, this coronavirus is a serious thing. And, some of the things that impact us are the things that are happening around us. And so it's really, really important for us to be aware of our environment, to be sensitized to other people, to be caring, and to recognize it's not just jewelry, it's that we're human beings. And of course, the jewelry industry is a very important industry. Millions of people make their livelihood. Now, if you look at these curves in front of you, and we're just about at 1 million people that have passed away, got to stop and think about that. 1 million people, my God. Oh, yeah, because it doesn't really matter. It's 1 million people. That's less than 1%. More people get into car accidents, but I think it's a serious issue that we need to think about. Okay, there's 18 or whatever it is. What is it? I think 8.7 billion people or something like that in the world. But we should stop and think. We should be aware. We should be sensitized. We should be careful. These curves are not flat. They haven't flattened yet. So we should be very careful. We should make sure to wear masks. We should make sure to take care of ourselves and our families. What's interesting about coronavirus, before I get into the whole thing about it, is to understand that, in one way, coronavirus is pulling us together because our families, the people closest to us, are really close. I mean, I've never spent so much time with my wife. We just celebrated our 40th wedding anniversary yesterday, and I love her, and I really got to spend a lot of time with her. And for me, it worked out well. Some people don't work out so well. So are my kids and my grandchildren. So, we're getting closer. And we also have things that are pushing us apart, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but fear and insecurity. We're afraid to be alone. We're afraid to die alone. And the need for a connection is fundamental to our human condition. And it's subconscious. The stuff that we're experiencing with coronavirus, many of us, it's kind of a weird thing because it's psychological. It's deeply embedded, and it's affecting us, and it's affecting our customers, and it's affecting our suppliers, and it's affecting our society. So you should be aware that things are not the same. And they talk about coronavirus as being something that, it's affecting all kinds of things, and it's not just a respiratory problem, and people lose their sense of smell. There's kind of weird stuff going on. And I think that we have to realize there's a lot of unintended and subconscious consequences here that will affect us. And then we have to understand it's going to affect our markets and our business. But it's affecting us. And isolation, family unity, children awareness. Wow, that's really important. It's amazing what God did here. He made us spend time with our children. And so many people were so busy in business and they could send the kids to school or whatever. And now they have to face up to the reality of their family life and to the other life than business. Now, the economic side, supply and demand has been tremendously impacted. How we create goods, how we create products, how we trade products, how we buy, how we sell, how other people buy and sell, all changed. And then in the political side, it's amazing what's going on. Now, some of the stuff is maybe before, not Corona, but, like the trade war with China, say. But everyone's polarizing. Before there was this idea, we're all singing kumbaya, we're all merging, we're merging. I don't know if the coronavirus has changed people and made them much more argumentative or polarized. Certainly we see that in the elections in the United States. We see that in the relationships. So we see with President Trump's polarization issues. We see all kinds of aggressiveness. And, and sometimes people just go crazy. They get really aggressive and they don't realize why. They're angry or they want to blame someone. Often people just want to blame Rapaport or the priceless, but we have to have compassion for everybody. And we also have to start thinking, what are the positive impacts of Corona? Do you really get to know your kids? Do you get to know your family? Do you think, are you becoming more spiritual? Are you thinking about those things? So what I would advise everybody to do is they say in Hebrew, Re'eh b'tov Yerushalayim, see what's good about Jerusalem. And my advice here is to see what is the good side of Corona. This is a life experience that we are experiencing. The entire world is experiencing this. What is that? I think it was like 8.8 billion, or the number just escapes me right now, 8.6 billion people, all of them experiencing this one way or the other. But think about what it means to you and try to get something out of this experience. And we will try to be positive today as well.